Executioner!
Welcome to the club where them niggas get the bullets. Loaded up guns with the trigger and we pull it. We got bad bitches twerking cause they do this. Run up on us, you get dropped, bitch, you stupid. You don't want me pull a knife to a ring fight. Switchblade, blade runner on the king, right? Magic killer on the floor, devil in your six. The art of finesse by fucking on your chick. We don't throw down in the air, we just shoot up. The girl want a beast king cause she chews up. I'm too sweet on the lips, now she booed up. She don't fuck with losers, her niggas just screwed up. These niggas thinking you're the realest, fell off the floor. Started laughing at you stupid niggas. Life is war when you out here grinding and you hustle. I'll make sure that you niggas won't scorn. I'ma leave your ass scorn. Call me Jay White, I'm the switchblade. Hit the blade runner on these bitch maids. Why you little niggas play with Beyblades?
You bow down to the king, I'm your sensei.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Get your ass whooped like buffet. I finesse 3 or 4s like Chris Bay. Yeah, you can keep your mouth closed. Caprende.
I'm over here wildin' with the Bullet Club. Switchblade hit your belly, good to be your dub. Me and LP gotta get it out the mud. Pulverizing hot beats, that's what I love. In the VIP with the vets be, cause the game stay cold like Gretzky. We not playing basketball, don't press me. Man, which dude but their face messy? Got more bars than the boulevard. I'm just like a dealer, stay pulling cars. And unpredictable when I'm fully charged. When your entourage over with a fucking car. Got that rock from China. When she slip that shit, I will grind her. My J's white, you can't find her. Awesome caliber like Illa.
Call me Jay White and I'm the switchblade. Hit the blade runner on these bitch maids. Why you little niggas play with Beyblades?
You bow down to the king, I'm your sensei.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Get your ass whooped like buffet. I finesse 3 or 4s like Chris Bay. Yeah, you can keep your mouth closed. Caprende. Call me Jay White and I'm the switchblade. Hit the blade runner on these bitch maids. Why you little niggas play with Beyblades?
You bow down to the king, I'm your sensei.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Get your ass whooped like buffet. I finesse 3 or 4s like Chris Bay. Yeah, you can keep your mouth closed. Caprende.
Hey, yo, B. What's goody, B? Council Roundtable signing back in real quick. We talk about the old-fashioned wrestling, let y'all know what's happening. The #1 spot for that barbershop wrestling talk. You dig? Shots go out to my dude Black Star, always pulling up early. You know what I mean? I'm dropping that link. I'm not even going to waste too much time. Let's get to it. For those out there that want to pull up, hit that link. When I say wipe your feet before you step in the house, that means hit that thumbs up. How am I sounding? Am I sounding copacetic over here? Am I sounding copacetic over here? All right. There we go, B. Got a lot of news to talk about. MJF Day. We got to talk about MJF Day. Try that link real quick. Yeah, B. We got to talk about the draft. The draft is back. Especially after Monday Night Raw. He got to come through and save face. Something had to happen. Because all the WWE Universe lost hope after Monday Night Raw. And that was definitely some good news. Triple H announcing the draft is coming back. And potentially, you got my people's Terrence Howard pulling up. My boy T. Howard over there. Make sure y'all hit that damn link. Before you hit the link, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Yeah, man. Welcome to the round table there. Hold on, give me 1 second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I got my notes. Can't forget your notes. Nate, Black Star, I see Back to Beaver. Gentlemen. Was good.
So, draft. The only draft I want to see is a Budweiser.
Yeah. You like that shit?
No, I'm just saying. I don't want to see WWE draft.
Why not?
Because it sucks. It's pointless. It's garbage. It's trash. WWE sucks. Oh. when Vince leaves, things will get better. That's it. When are they going to realize it?
Yeah, Vince has got to be completely away because all this dude Vince got to do is just make one phone call and just cancel Triple H's plans. That's all it takes.
Exactly.
They're working together.
There's a lot of hands in the cookie jar. Tell you the truth, like you got Vince, you got Triple H, you got Bruce Pritchard, you got Baktooth Beaver.
So I did see an interesting thing. I guess SummerSlam is listed on Ticketmaster as WWE versus WWE. So some people think it might be Vince versus Triple H. That would be interesting if they do some kind of angle like that.
I see you, Joe.
So.
The British Bulldog.
Wembley. I'm not gonna lie, that was definitely a good announcement. Shouts go out to TK for that announcement. That wasn't a bad announcement.
They both made good announcements this week.
We're fucked, Brett. We're fucked.
Brett. Dude, man, freaking Bulldog was like high on drugs or something during that match with Bret Hart. I didn't know
he was high on crack.
Yeah, he was on coke.
On crack,
no, not coke. Crack. He was high on crack.
Yeah, Brett fucking
not
called
ass
it the
crack
entire
either.
match.
Yeah. That's crazy.
My greatest British Bulldog moment was when the Shockmaster Kool-Aid Man Kool-Aid Man took through that wall. And he fell on his ass. And the British Bulldog, you can hear loud and clear.
I said before, it wasn't really the fall that was funny. It was everybody else reacting to it. You know, Sid was like, "Oh God," and Flair was like, "He's like he fell on his arse."
He fell on his arse. He fell on his fucking arse.
I don't care who the hell you are. I don't care who the hell you are.
What's good, Marcus? What's going on? My boy Terrence Howard was goody. Yeah, that's what I was gonna pull up. Terrence, you want to pull up? Just hit that link.
Yeah. I just really wanted to just get started on this. Yeah, Wembley is that's pretty big. They got 90,000, and when WWF was over there in '92 for Bulldog and Brett, the numbers were a contestant somewhere like 79, 80,000. So not even they have sold it out. I don't expect them to sell it out, but 90,000 is a big ask.
They're probably going to get 60 to 70.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, the UK fans are very hungry, very passionate. Don't forget, we can always make fun of TNA, but when TNA went over there to have some episodes of Impact, they drew good crowds. I remember there was this one year TNA was over there and they had like 5,000 for an Impact. So they're very passionate over there. It's going to be AEW's first show over there in the UK. They would have been over there earlier if it wasn't for COVID. So it definitely fits the pre AEW energy, like in 2018 before AEW was a thing. The Elite, when it was Kenny, the Bucks, Cody. They always kind of rolled the dice. For the stuff they did, you never knew if it was going to work. And sometimes in wrestling, that's what you got to do. WrestleMania was rolling the dice. There was no way anybody could have known Mania was going to work out, and they rolled the dice, and it worked out. When they did All In back in 2018, that was rolling the dice. They said, "Oh, you can never do an independent show for over 10,000," and it worked out. There's also going to be AEW's first ever pay-per-view stadium show. So a lot of first here. I've been on social media for a bit, and I'm seeing a lot of people fantasy book the matches they think could happen here. Because they're going to be in the UK, I think a lot of people need to kind of, open their third eye and see what's going to happen here. A lot of folks are saying they should do.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to do Kenny Omega and this dude. Who's the dude from the Aussie Open again? Yeah, what's my dude name again?
Yeah, Will Ospreay. Yeah,
Ospreay. It's gonna be Ospreay and Omega. You know they're gonna do that.
That's what I was about to say, because some people are saying, oh, they should do Kenny and Punk, and some are saying no, they should do the Elite versus Punk and FTR, and that could definitely be a big crowd. But people need to remember, like when WWF went over there in '92, Bulldog Brett main evented, and although Brett and Bulldog may not be a main event in America, that was box office in UK, because Davey Boy, that was their guy, that was their boy. So Ospreay versus Omega, it obviously doesn't have the same star power as Omega and Punk, but to the UK crowd, that's going to put butts in seats, So
last year at Clash of the Castle, it was Drew versus Roman.
Right. And don't forget, Sheamus and Gunther was also a big draw over there.
Yeah.
Don't forget other guys like Pac. You got Saraya, you got Malachi Black, you got who else is from over there? I know I'm missing somebody. The Anthony Ogogo guy. I know he's pretty popular over there.
Yeah, he was definitely missing him. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Damn well nobody is jocking no damn Anthony Ogogo. Just let me up before you go.
Sounds like a lost dancer from Boogie Nights or something.
Yeah, speaking of that, Black Star, I mentioned Drew. That's a good segue there. As I understand, I think it's the first time we mentioned here on the show, Drew's contract is running out. And as I understand it, he has not re-upped at all. I think his contract runs out during the summer. I don't know his exact date, but if his contract runs out, because Wembley is going to be August 27th, which is kind of like the end of summer going into fall. So if Drew's out, then I would consider getting him as well. I don't think AEW needs him, but again,
I would say they need him because AEW needs these bigger dudes. That's up to Tony Khan to push him. Mm-hmm. Like hopefully he won't bring like a Drew Galloway there. You don't want him to bring a Drew Galloway up in there to lose a fucking Jungle Bum.
What about Nick Aldis? Isn't he from UK?
Would push Drew.
Yeah. Nick's not signed anywhere right now. He's a free agent, and he's definitely got some choices. I think he's probably waiting for whatever this NXT Europe will be, but that won't be until like the later half of the year. So I don't know what he's up to, but yeah, he's another guy to look out for. They're definitely not going to do it by themselves. They're going to need help. They're going to need New Japan, probably other organizations, and I definitely don't expect them to get a sellout. Not even WWE can sell it out. Even now, like if WWE went there now, if they went to Wembley now, they wouldn't do a sellout. They would do probably maybe 60, 70,000 at best, which is still a respectable number. So I think at the most AEW can, with the right card, the right build, the right star power, I think they could get somewhere around, I'd say about maybe 45, 50,000. And that's still a good number, but make no mistake, Punk is definitely back, because there's no way they can have that arena and not have Punk. So
just include a 6-pack of beer with a ticket. They'll fucking, those Europeans, they're all drunk. They'll go to a show. Just give them a 6-pack. Free.
So Marcus Brown asks, he agrees with Black Saw 15 saying Triple H books like 90s and early 2000s Vince McMahon. Do you agree? Oh, this new Triple H definitely borrows the old school formula of wrestling. We all know that. That's why we appreciate his booking style. His booking style is just like that. Like, you can only talk but so much. We don't need too much promos to get your point across. At the end of the day, we want to see you fight. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see you talk all the damn time. Like, you know, that's how Vince McMahon books. This dude Vince will book like a 10-minute segment and have a 2-minute match.
Yeah.
So yeah, Triple H, yes, he does borrow the old school style of booking.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like that's why I compared him to 90s and early 2000s events. Because you could see the influence.
hold on, wait. How you gotta come to the YouTube side. Oh, if you can hear me, Terrence, you gotta come to the YouTube side to snatch that link. As a matter of fact, I'll send it to you. I got you. I'm sending it to you to the Facebook side. Y'all keep on talking. This dude, Terrence, he's trying to pull up, but he's on the Facebook side. So I'm gonna send him.
Yeah, I'm just still wondering about AEW this past Wednesday, their rating. I can't believe, I don't know what's going on with them. They put on good shows. I guess fans are not really watching.
I told you, man, wrestling's weird like that. It's sometimes just the shows that it's sometimes just the shows that are just like whatever. Those are the ones that get a big number. And then like the shows where you build up a super dream card. It's like WrestleMania is over. But we mentioned it about 2 weeks ago. You know, like one of the best WrestleManias of all time from top to bottom was WrestleMania 19. But it had like one of the worst buy rates ever in Mania history. It had Rock Austin, Angle Brock, HBK Jericho, Booker Triple H, fucking great card. It had Hogan, Vince, just top to bottom, one of the best cards they ever did, but it drew shit. Nobody fucking bought it. And to this day, nobody can answer why the show, because there's other Manias that drew way more that were nowhere near as good as 19. Like 21 drew more, 23 drew more, and those shows are nowhere near as good as 19, but it's just wrestling, man. Wrestling's weird like that,
Yeah. No, I think because people's black boxes were still working back in the day. I ain't paying for this bullshit. Steal it.
Man, look, I had one of them too. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna fuck.
Oh yeah.
If I thought that, like, man, look, get the Spice Channel, all that shit.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. My dad left for bowling on Friday night. Hook it up. Spice.
You know what I'm saying? Get the boxing matches, all that.
Oh, did I ever tell you about that? That Mike Tyson fight? I think it was Tyson and Holyfield. They had an ad in there for a teacher, and everyone that called got arrested because the cable company planted that ad. So I'm like, good thing I didn't call.
The last
that's you, Terrence? Just put your camera on real quick so I can make sure that's you.
Yeah, we don't want no Snicker bars.
Word. I got you.
Yo, what's happening?
What's going on? That's my dude, Terrence High right there. Say what's up to everybody. We lost Black Star. Black Star, you already know. Hit that link and you come right back up. I'll bring you back up here. Yeah, this is my guy right here. Say what's up.
What's up, guys? How y'all living?
Hey, what up, T?
So, man, I've been listening in to what y'all been saying, and I agree with y'all to a degree, honestly.
Talk to us.
It's like you could it's almost crazy how you can see.
Hold on, my bad. I see you, Black, so I see you. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, like it's crazy how easily you could see the difference between a Triple H book show and a Vince McMahon book show,
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, keep going. Listen.
To me, I definitely see the old school way in Triple H books, and especially tonight when I just watched SmackDown and him announcing a draft. I don't know how I feel about that. I got mixed emotions about it, but I think because the last couple drafts have not gone well at all. So I don't know. Y'all think this draft is gonna hit, or is it gonna be another hit and miss?
I would say
I don't give
this.
a
I would
ghost a
say
minute.
like if he lets Triple H do what he got to do when it comes to the draft, it's gonna be a big hit because Triple H actually likes the in-ring aspect of the sport. You know, Vince McMahon, he don't really care about wrestling. He don't care about that shit. He's trying to go out and try to get the attention of pop culture. Hold on, who's that in the background? That's way too much noise in the background.
What
Wait,
is
what you talking
that?
about?
It's like somebody watching SmackDown right now. It sounds real loud.
Oh,
Okay,
my bad. I
there.
was watching.
Okay,
I was
thank
watching
you.
Rampage. My bad.
Okay, thanks. What's going on in
Um,
Rampage? As a matter of fact, what's going on right now with that? Before we get back to the topic.
The
You know,
I
they're
JAS
live
is
mean,
coming
tonight.
up.
Yeah, the live night battle of the belts coming up next. So
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes I watch Rampage too, just in case it's a match I want to see. So I'm not gonna hate. But yeah, though. But speaking of AEW, though, there was one thing I wanted to talk about, and that's
What's
this:
up?
you think. I think this move. First off, this move to All Out, this All In show in London and Wembley, that's a fire move. I'm not gonna lie. Their big state, that legendary stadium show, that's fire. But
mm-hmm.
also to me, I think because Raw didn't hit this week, Tony Khan inadvertently got like a second chance to like really get his shit together, you know? Like you think
it,
you don't think TK hear the reports and know about Vince coming back as well as the negative feedback that they got for Raw? Come
Of
on now.
course.
yeah, I think the one.
If I'm TK, I'm smiling ear to ear right now.
Yeah, I think the one thing we can all agree on, because I said this last year, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt, them being WWE. Post Mania Raw culture is dead. It's been dead for a while now, and Monday just proved it. So I'm not going to give them the benefit of
Yeah,
the doubt anymore.
unfortunately, man. Like, damn.
How is it impossible to be that bad? Like, bro, Raw after Mania, that was the worst one they did. Like, how?
Because
You telling me
it's
after
all
But
the
it
about being
big
didn't die.
scandal?
It got that Raw after Mania was the electric chair. That wasn't an easy death.
But like I said, it's been dead for years now. You know, it's just a thing where it's like people talk about it, but there hasn't been a good one in years. And you know, sometimes you go on social media and people are like, oh, well, what is it? What really is a good Raw after Mania? Like, you know, Raw after Mania is supposed to be, you know, angles,
yeah,
debuts, returns,
Yeah,
excitement.
call ups, and crazy crowds, and that has been
Yeah,
completely absent from post Mania
exactly,
excitement.
Raw.
Period. Like that
Yeah.
shit was just so damn lifeless.
Yeah,
It
but what I'm
was
bruh.
just
saying
so
is that
lifeless
it's
on
been dead
Monday.
for years though. They haven't had a genuinely good one like in like a decade. It's just
You not wrong about that, man. Because honestly, if I could really, in my opinion, I don't know how long it's been, but the last good Raw after Mania show, at least in my opinion, was when Dolph Ziggler cashed in Money in the Bank.
right.
We
I
spoke
agree.
about that same thing.
Yeah,
We spoke about
that
that
was
same thing.
2013. That was
Bruh,
2013, 10
That's a
years ago.
damn shame.
Yeah.
let
20
that
years
sink
ago.
in.
No,
Let that
10
sink
years ago.
in.
10 years ago.
Bruh, let that sink in. Dolph Ziggler winning the world title was the last time Raw after Mania was exciting.
And I said this before, and if there's one thing, because a lot of people like to blame AEW for stuff, and usually I roll my eyes. But in this case, I do think AEW has played a part. One of the things that's absolutely hurt post Mania Raw, and this is something I've said for a couple of months now, those crazy fans that used to be at those WWE shows, they're gone. You may get a good crowd at the pay-per-view. Like they had a great crowd for WrestleMania. They had a great crowd for Royal Rumble. Like the pay-per-views, they still have the crowds, but like I'm talking regular episodes of Raw, regular episodes of SmackDown, post Mania Raw, like WWE, they don't get them crazy crowds anymore. Them crowds that chant the crazy shit. that sing the songs, like they're gone.
Mhm.
All those
Well, they
crowds
do.
have migrated.
They still say this. They still do the ooh.
Right, but you know what I mean, right? I'm talking
Yeah.
like, if there's a dead match, they'll get out a beach ball and just play beach ball, be like, fuck this match, Like
Yo, they
Bro,
those
they
crowds
love.
are
they had
right.
the beach ball on Monday.
Like those crowds have
Bro, they
migrated to
did.
those
They had
crowds
the
have
beach ball on
migrated.
Monday, Tove. It was
But,
there.
you know what I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking like crowds just taking over the show. Like WWE doesn't have that anymore. They haven't had a crowd
They
like 7
lost.
years.
They do.
They lost their. They
They
lost a
do. They
large.
still there. Like
No,
the
they're
They
beach
not,
ball
bro.
lost
was still
a.
there. All that.
Nah, they're not there, bro. They're not there. All those crowds have migrated to AEW or they just stopped watching. They're not there anymore.
But you know what's crazy? A lot of the fans that you're talking about were their casual audience, and they lost a good chunk of their casual fans.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
It's their
wouldn't say that's the casuals. That's the rabid fans. You know what I mean? That's the ones that actually want the in ring aspect of wrestling. When they see too much promos, that's when they start doing the beach balls and they start, heckling the wrestlers and stuff like that. I want to say that's the casuals. The casuals is the
But
ones that come like
the
a
one thing
Logan
that I noticed,
Paul and stuff like that, or a Bad Bunny. And I'm not even trying to throw shade on them. Like
the
Logan
one thing,
Paul and Bad Bunny, they killing it right now. But
Yeah.
they cater to the casual fans.
the
What are
one
you
thing
saying,
that I
Blackstone?
noticed, and that I compare Vince McMahon to now, is remember when Al Davis was before he died?
Who?
Al Davis, the
Oh,
radio
okay,
host.
okay.
Oh wow.
He's Al Davis,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
a person who is way out of his league, way out of touch. And it's sad to see, but it's true. He's Al Davis.
I still, funny story. I actually still have that Raw on my DVR because it's so good. I remember exactly everything that happened on the show that Terrence is talking about. To any listeners out there who don't remember, Post Mania Raw 2013, that was the Raw after Mania 29, 10 years ago. That was the one where the show opened. Cena was in the ring. The fans were shitting on him. Cena was like, "How about a heel turn?" But he turned his actual heel, and the fans cheered.
Yeah.
That was
hilarious.
that was a night when the fans were just singing Fandango's theme all day, and they actually got
Yeah.
Fandango's theme #1 on Spotify and iTunes and shit.
Wow, you remember that?
Yeah,
I remember
that was the
Man.
night when Sheamus and Orton had a match and the fans didn't give a shit. And then Big Show came
Yeah.
out and he killed them both, and the fans were chanting, "Thank you, Big Show! Thank you, Big Show!" The only time he ever got that ever in his whole career.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was the one where Undertaker came out. He was going to cut a promo, but then Shield interrupted him, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, Shield's about to jump Taker." That was the show
and then
where
I remember that one. And then it was a 6-man after that. Bryan and Kane came out, and then they had the rematch with Del Rio and Swagger. I remember that.
Right,
Yeah, that was
Ziggler right. It was.
That was a good
That was the
Raw.
best post-Mania Raw they ever did. Like every segment was like boom, 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 just nothing but hot angles, debuts, and shit like that. The fans,
Everything
even
made
Ryback's
sense.
heel
Everything
turn.
connected.
Yeah.
All the angles continued on.
Yes.
And that was a decade ago.
And there was no stars born.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it's supposed to go, man. The Raw after Mania is supposed to be the start of the new season of WWE.
Right.
And
that's when the new season starts.
Right, and that's the only L I give Triple H, because just based off Raw and SmackDown, especially SmackDown tonight, it was the same. Like SmackDown was not shit at all. Like I watched the whole show. SmackDown wasn't bad, but it was the same stuff. Like a lot of the feuds from WrestleMania are still going. Like WrestleMania is supposed to be the end, but no, Ray's still feuding with Dom, Judgment Day still feuding with LWO, the Bloodline stuff still going on. What else is happening? Obviously Cody's going to get another match against Roman. So that feeling of like, okay, it's a reboot, it's a reset. Like, nah, it just felt like another show. So, but it was better than Raw at least.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when it comes to that LWO and Judgment Day feud, it is a new layer of the feud. You know what I'm saying? You got LWO now. You don't got just Ray and Dom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another layer of the feud right there. So it's not like it's just them two. It's filtering into a new chapter. Who is chewing on Legos?
Yeah, but going off of what you said,
is that you, Black Soul?
No, ain't me.
Yeah, you robot.
It's probably just a Wi-Fi or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's better. That's better. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
yeah,
Now you go back. So like whatever
go
was
ahead.
it stopped. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
What you? Oh, okay.
Nah, but I was just adding on to what you said. The Judgment Day feud with Ray, it is a new layer, and to be honest,
Yeah.
I think it's a good layer. Honestly, it's accomplishing a lot of things. Yo, I watched SmackDown tonight, and the heat that Dominic got was wonderful, bro.
Hell
like
yeah.
bro, that is real heel heat right there. And I think people need to start taking notes of that, because nowadays it seems like most cats is scared to be hated.
Oh, it's not that they're scared. It's just that if
Triple H turned Dom into the best heel.
It's not that they're scared to get heat.
Like it's one of the best heels in WWE.
It's just that like if you get real heat, people get offended and you have to apologize and stuff. That's kind of how it is.
That's the thing that kills me. It's like, damn. Yo, as a matter of fact, speaking of people getting offended and Dom, him being a heel, okay. Remember the entrance this dude had at WrestleMania, and they were showing like certain clips of the prison.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I heard that report.
Yeah, they really got offended by this shit.
One of his occupants.
Yeah.
Because
how dare WWE use that image and people that got killed and like
it's an image of a Nazi prison. That's why.
But it's like, who cares?
Yeah, see, I gave up on that shit. I gave up on that shit years ago, bro. When they were doing Rusev, when he was getting his push, and who was he feuding with? Big Show. What was it? The Bulgarian flag or some shit? And then like the flag, the flag fell over, and like this was a real thing. Like I'm not making this up. The fucking United Nations contacted Obama, who was president, and they told Obama about like the flag segment on Raw, and they were offended. And then Obama contacted WWE HQ, and then they contacted Vince, and then Vince contacted Big Show. I swear to God, this happened. And then Big Show had to go on Twitter,
what you're talking about.
And he had to apologize. And I was like, all he did was like, it wasn't like they pissed on the flag or put it up their nose like Sean did. The flag just fell on the ring. That's all that happened. But it was so dumb. But that,
I remember that. Big Show had to apologize. Big Show had to apologize on Twitter, and they had to like quote unquote keep him off of TV for like a week or two until their match on pay-per-view. Like what? And what's crazy is people ended up forgetting about that feud, especially when the match happened. Like, bruh. It's not like, I mean, if Big Show would have burned the flag or something, then you could get offended. But what did he really do?
Nothing.
Even if he burned the flag,
Like,
who cares? It's a fucking flag. It's a piece of cloth. Who cares? Like
imagine if Conan would have burned the American flag on national TV.
I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, bro, he would have got.
Didn't he do that on Impact with
he never did it on Impact. He teased it and threatened to do it, but he never.
Oh, somebody did. These dudes stopped him. That's right. He got stopped. Yeah. So I was about to say.
But imagine if he actually did it.
If Conan would have actually burned an American flag, I could already see it now. He'd have probably been. They would have probably called for him to get fired the next day.
Yeah.
But speaking of Impact, shouts go out to Josh Alexander. As I don't know if y'all know, he had to give up the belt. Was it yesterday? He had to give up the belt and all that, and we had a little touching moment. His son, tried to stop him from giving up the belt, snatched the belt from Josh Alexander, and it was a little moment right there, like wow. Little man was like, "Nah, come on, Dad, you still got more in you." But
Yeah,
shouts go to Josh Alexander, man, longest reigning Impact champion, and heal up soon. Be there with your
yeah.
family. Get that, that loving and that caring, whatever the case may be, and come back soon healthy. And hopefully people acknowledge him more.
Oh, that's fair.
Josh Alexander is fire, man. I've watched him from when he started before he got signed on Impact to now. Dude is a beast for real.
Yeah. Longest reigning champion, man.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of a title snob as far as
It sucks. It sucks that Impact doesn't have.
Bruh, Impact, I can't, bruh, it's hard for me to watch Impact, bruh. It makes me cry because I'm like, damn, bruh. Impact, what has happened to you? Like, you have been on the downslope for 10 years and you have not even come close to reaching your former glory, bruh.
Marcus, why you just can't just come up here? Just come up here and ask him yourself. Like, you don't always have to be in the chat. You can come up if you want to ask Soph a question.
I'm a title snob, so I consider Impact and TNA different continuities. I know people say, "Oh, it's the same." Like, no, it's not. It's not.
No,
the
it
same.
is not. Nah.
It's not the same. So,
bro, you just like me, man. I'm not even gonna lie, because
But
if you compare,
imagine if they would have kept their roster. Like if Dixie Carter never fucked up the way that she fucked up.
yeah.
bruh, if they would have kept their roster the way it was back then, TNA would actually still be one of the hardest companies there.
I just met you, Terrence, and when you spoke, you just said TNA. See, like that's because in your heart, that's because in your heart, that's what you see it as, and that's what I mean when people say, "Oh, TNA and Impact are the same thing." I'm like, no, they're not. They're not.
Bruh,
two different legacies, two different companies, two different fan bases, two different rosters. To me,
bro.
TNA was Sting, AJ, Hardy, Rude, Storm,
Christian
Angle,
Cage,
Christian, Jarrett, Rhino, Abyss.
Yeah, that a crazy roster at that time. That roster was litty. That roster was litty as fuck.
Impact, all respect to Impact. Impact is like Eddie Edwards, Josh Alexander, Moose, Deanna Purrazzo. Like cool roster, but like it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
Sammy Callahan, Steve Macklin. Like, don't get me wrong, those guys are nice, but it's never going to be the same as TNA. Like TNA was a different time. Like, bro, to this day, the greatest match that they've ever had is AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels, bro. I put that match up against just about any triple threat you could name, bro. That match was fire.
Yep.
That was probably one of the best pay-per-views TNA ever did, from top to bottom.
I agree.
Gotta shout out the sponsors real quick. This is go out to Hot Pockets. My dude Nate from Inside Wrestling said he picked up Hot Pockets at Stop and Shop 2 for $7. Get your fix of ham and cheddar, meatball, pizza, and you can't forget the world famous broccoli, chicken, and cheddar. You gotta get that shit over there at the grocery store. Stop being a bum. Hot Pockets, put money in your pockets. And that good cheese that make you be at ease. That bitch eat that shit, get her on her knees.
Oh man.
Hot Pockets.
We love
Impact. Impact only needs two things to turn it around. one, they just got to get a better TV deal. We talked about this several times before. I understand that it's 2023 and there's all kinds of ways to consume your entertainment. But when it comes to professional wrestling, as Sandman would say, let's really be real. How do most wrestling fans consume their wrestling product? They consume it by turning on their TV and turning it to the station that it fucking comes on. People that watch Raw turn their TV to USA to watch Raw. People that watch SmackDown turn their TV to Fox to watch SmackDown. People that watch Dynamite turn their TV to TBS or whatever to watch Dynamite. And you know, Impact, their own fucking Access TV, but Access
nobody knows what
like
Access
that.
is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I know like a few people that have Access, but most folks don't have Access TV. I've said before, if they had a better TV deal and it was in my area, I'd watch. I may not watch it live, but I'd at least fucking DVR it, you know. So, but that's the first thing. They got to get a better TV deal.
Like I said,
Dixie
fucked them over in such a monumental way.
Yeah, she did. She fucked them up
Dixie
so much
Carter,
that nobody wants to. Right.
Dixie Carter screwed them. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff made it worse. And I'm like, bro, like you went from being original, like your own identity, to now making the same mistakes WCW did and copying WWE.
And then brung in the 4 sides. That was the nail in the coffin. When they brung in the 4 sides,
that was it right there.
Yo, that right there was a killer.
Jared said it before, and you know, I'm not really the biggest Jared guy. Jared said the 6 side thing, that was what got them a shitload of toy deals, because they were like, you know, because toy sponsors and toy companies that Jared talked to, they were telling him like, yo, you guys are the only company with 6 sides, you know, because traditional wrestling's got 4 sides, and you know, UFC, the Octagon and shit, they got, what was it, 8 sides or something?
Yeah.
You know, they had 6.
Yeah.
So it made them stand
like
out.
The only place that had the 6-side ring was AAA in Mexico, you know.
Right.
And out here, they didn't have that. And they prided themselves on, you know what I mean, that moniker. The 6-sided ring.
Did you guys know that there was an angle that Hogan did that they never aired because the fans boo it? There was actually an angle where Hogan destroyed the 6-sided ring. I'm not sure if you guys knew that.
No, it's still on YouTube.
I believe it.
When he said, "Oh, it's enough. It's enough for the 6-sided ring. It's time to come into the big leads."
Yeah.
They booed him out the building.
I'll say it's about TNA fans. You know, a lot of hardcore fans. You know, they'll complain. You know, like a company can do something stupid. You know, they complain, but oh, you know, I'm not watching this shit. You know, but then like they'll tune in and watch. When Hogan and Bischoff came in, bro, when they fucked up TNA, that's the second time ever in my entire fucking life as a wrestling fan where I saw a huge demographic of fans leave and they never came back. I remember this vividly, bro. If you can find the fucking pay-per-view, it's so fucking surreal. Right before Hogan and Bischoff came in, the December pay-per-view, I believe it was called Final Resolution, I think. And I believe AJ Styles, who was the TNA champion, he faced Christopher Daniels. Okay.
Right.
AJ won. And then when Hogan and Bischoff came in, they brought in Hardy, Flair, the Nasty Boys, Bubba the Love Sponge, and fucking Val Venus. And I remember Christopher Daniels was jobbing to Val Venus in like 2 minutes. Now remember, this dude just fought for the TNA championship the month prior. And here he is losing to Val Venus in 2 minutes. So what happened was the front row actually stood up and they turned their back. Like they turned their back on the product. Like that's how. And then Dixie got mad because Dixie, you can still find the YouTube video. It's still there. Dixie Carter got mad, so she came out and she had to speak to Universal Studios to tell the fans, "You guys are supposed to cheer Val Venus," and they were just like, "Fuck you." And then there was another video where it was Dixie talking to the TNA roster, where she was like, "I'm bringing in Hogan and Bischoff, and you know, if you guys don't," basically in so many words, she was saying, "If you don't agree with my vision, leave.
You're fired."
Just irreparable damage. Irreparable.
And
TNA
they did.
Never recovered.
And they did leave. All of her ace stars, they all left her. Like, I don't think she understood what she had.
Why would you turn AJ Styles into Little Nate?
I have no idea.
It still confuses me to this day.
Oh, word! I remember that they turned AJ into friggin' another Ric Flair. I'm like, AJ walked out with Ric Flair's robe on. I'm like, bruh, what?
Remember when they were trying to push Abyss? Remember they made Abyss like Hogan with the red and
Yeah,
yellow?
like
It's just stupid shit.
yeah, like why? Abyssomania, like that. You went from being the biggest monster to another to like a Hogan guy who's just scared of his own shadow. Like what?
Right. There was a segment. I think it was their first pay per view when Hogan and Bischoff came. I think it was called Genesis, if I recall correctly. And Hogan and Bischoff were in the ring, and that was the first show where it was the 4-sided ring and not the 6-sided ring, and the fans were booing. And
Did y'all see that? Did y'all see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it. I
Hold
forgot
on.
exactly
I was
what
playing
Hogan.
the footage right there.
Yeah. I forgot exactly what. Okay.
This is why I will never take Eric Bischoff's opinion seriously, because I'm like, bruh, you killed two major wrestling promotions.
Exactly.
You killed two major wrestling promotions trying to tell Tony Khan and Vince McMahon what to do.
He made himself the vocal point of the whole show. Yo, this dude Bischoff was like on like what 10 segments on a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
it was like every week.
Dude, he was on 2 segments out in the ring, 5 segments backstage, and most of them were just him talking on a phone. Like, bro, the show is not about you.
Like Dixie put the knife in the stomach. Hogan and Bischoff basically twisted it.
Yeah,
it's crazy, bro. Because it's like I go on Twitter or any social media site, and people talk about like, oh man, AEW's roster is stacked. Oh man, WWE's roster is stacked. Oh man, New Japan's roster is stacked. All respect to WWE, AEW, New Japan, bro, man. Fucking TNA in like fucking 2010, 2011. That was like the most fucking cracked roster I've ever seen in my fucking life. They had Styles, Joe, Hardy, Rob Van Dam, Mr. Kennedy, Jay Lethal, Douglas Williams, Kurt Angle, Matt Morgan, Bobby Lashley, Beer Money, Flair,
Nigel McGuinness.
They had everybody. They had Pope. That was like the most cracked roster I've ever seen. It was so diverse. It had everything, and they fucked it up. I'm getting upset just remembering it. I forgot just how fucking stupid they were back then.
How do you fuck that up?
About it.
Bro, listen to all those.
Hold on, Marcus got a good question there.
How do you fuck that up that severely?
Hold on, Black Star. Hold on. Marcus Brown asked if I think the upcoming draft is going to have Triple H split the tag team titles and world titles, and maybe Triple H is booking Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar for the vacant. No. You had me at the beginning. You know what I mean? At the beginning, yeah, I think, you know what I mean? Yes, he should think of a way to split the belts. You know, mainly the tag team belts. Those need to be split because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens don't need to be carrying both of those belts. And what you call it? SmackDown, they do need something to fight for. Well, something else to fight for. Maybe a team from maybe the Brawling Brutes or something could go after that tag team belt. But that was a good question. That the last part, no. Come on now. You think it's gonna automatically come out of nowhere and just put the belt on the line for Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar? That's not gonna work.
I think
and plus I'm kind of over Brock Lesnar in a championship match, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, me too. Like, let him just be the kick-ass mercenary like how he is. I like that mercenary kick-ass shit. That's it. He don't need to be a champion. He don't. Unless it's thoroughly necessary. Only if it's very, very necessary.
They'll very privately and very quietly eliminate the Raw and SmackDown belts and just have one set of titles, which is how it should be. That's what they should do.
I won't mind that, honestly. But I won't mind. I'm not gonna lie. I won't mind that if they combine both belts and just have the guy who's the champion compete on both shows. That's fine. I mean, it worked before.
Yeah.
The undisputed belt. It did, but it did not really. It was somewhat the same thing. Like there was like a Hogan or a Bum the Taker. They was playing double duty, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't on every single show, especially in the match.
Sometimes and it still worked though. I remember when Taker was the champion and he was appearing on both shows.
Yeah, but he wasn't in a match. He wasn't on a Raw and SmackDown in a match. If anything, it would be a segment here and there or a promo.
Yeah, but sometimes if it's done right, sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Especially if the story makes sense.
Yeah, I agree on that. But a lot of people want a fighting champion. A lot of people would want, if not once a week, if not like once a month, maybe twice a month. People want that champion to always defend the belt. If not, at least fight in a tag team match. If you're not fighting this week, then fight the following week. Me,
and
I'm
that's why
not
Roman not being.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Roman
more of
not
the
being
traditionalist. I don't think the champion should be fighting every other week here and there. Like, no. Like, nah, motherfucker. Like, I'm the fucking champion. Like, you gotta pay money to come see me. Like, how WWE was built in the first place. You didn't see Hogan fighting on superstars all the damn time. You see Hogan fighting at the pay-per-view.
Every match that the champion was in always had meaning.
Yeah. You're not gonna just see me just fighting at a random show. No. I like that, going back to that old school formula because it gives the belts prestige. And I understand, we're in a microwavable era. I know that, motherfuckers, they want their champions to always be around. But look what it got us. It got us to where the belts don't really mean anything. Now we're in the process of, making the belts mean something again.
I'm old school too. I grew up where it was just, I think all companies have too many belts, all of them. But
I agree too.
For me, it should just be one world title, one upper card title, one tag title, one women's title. That's it. To me, a company should have no more than 4 belts, 5 at most if you want to have like a TV belt or something like that. But I hate the concept because the thing about brands that I hate, when you're watching a wrestling company, there shouldn't be any doubt on who the top person is. So like, I hated it when if it was like say 2007 or 2008, and you ask who's the top guy, and the answer is, well, on Raw, Randy Orton is the WWE champion, but on SmackDown, Triple H is the world heavyweight champion. I fucking hate that shit. There should not be 2 world champions. I hate that shit. So
see, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that though. Like I appreciated it because when they came to the brand split, there was actually a brand split. Like you didn't see. Hold on. Like you didn't see. Like exactly. Like you didn't see motherfuckers just going on separate shows just for the fuck of it with no explanation. Only time they was doing something like that is if like they was on a road to WrestleMania and that particular those particular wrestler A or wrestler B had beef with each other. Then you see them intertwined within the brands. Other than that, you would never
that was supposed to end under Triple H
being on a brand that's not theirs, and that's what gave it prestige. Like Raw and SmackDown was actually 2 different shows.
Well, see, don't forget why they did the brand split to begin with, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget as we get further and further away from 2002. The reason why they did the brand split to begin with was because after WCW and ECW died, they had a lot of WCW guys signed and the ECW guys signed. And when you combine them with the roster they already had, plus the people that were getting called up, their roster was too big. So they had to have 2 different brands to make it work. AKA, when you have a stacked roster, it can work. It's not stacked anymore. It's not. That's another reason why the brands don't work like that anymore. They don't have the women's division to support 2 titles. They don't have the tag division to support 2 titles. They did like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, not now. They don't. People forget that.
Yeah, you got a point on that regard. I remember too that because the ruthless aggression era, bruh, that was a time. Like they had like literally anybody could be like a main eventer. They had ace tag teams. They had a solid women's roster. They had mid card titles, and they had wrestler A, wrestler B. Whoever was the mid card champion was actually being prepped to be the next main eventer.
Yeah, there's actually a process to it. There's no process anymore.
I think really what it was that after Attitude Era ended, Vince was, he was clearly looking for his next, draw.
Ruthless aggression.
And
think about it. Yeah, but think about it though. He was looking for his next top star because all his top stars dipped on him. Like, really think about it.
Well, once he got his top stars, like once he got Cena and Batista and Orton, because what's interesting about Ruthless Aggression, people always talk about when the Attitude Era ends. Nobody really talks about when Ruthless Aggression ended because there's no real consensus on when it ended. To me, Ruthless Aggression ended once he got his top stars or his new top stars, which was Cena, Orton, Batista. And I know those are the main 3, I guess.
I ain't gonna lie. I think Ruthless Aggression ended when ECW came back. Like when it was like back on like on sci-fi and shit. I think that's when it officially ended.
Oh my God! That I did not like.
Sandman versus the Zombie. That was the ECW right there.
Hey, bro, I did not agree with that. I hated that ECW so much, man. I hated it. Like
that's when the Ruthless Aggression ever died. That's when it was.
For me, when the brand shit died, when they lost the brand stuff for me, because it was falling off. Like even in the later 2000s, like 08, 09, it was falling off. When the brand shit died was when Sheamus debuted and he beat John Cena. And he had only been on the main roster for like fucking 2.5 months. I was like, yeah, this shit's done. It's done.
He was not. He was not originally supposed to win the title. That was really all a table botch.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too.
The truth is, from what I hear, they were supposed to be a spot where they both went through a table or something like that, but Sheamus was not originally supposed to win the title.
Well, they
just went along with it. Yep.
They kind of had no choice because how you going to explain that? Like, there was no way. If you go back and watch that match, there's no way you could get around that, bro.
Oh, I believe you, but around that same time, even if you take away the Sheamus spot, that's when they started treating the World Heavyweight Championship like a fucking TV title. It was fucking opening shows. You had Del Rio and Edge in the opening match at 27. Sheamus and Bryan in the opening match at 28. I remember a lot of times, they would do when Raw would first go 3 hours, you would have like Ziggler or Del Rio or Swagger or whoever the World Heavyweight Champion was defending the belt in hour 1. Like, what is this shit?
Yeah, he ain't wrong about that. Anytime they have ever put a world title on a new face, they were never the main event.
Yeah, but that's all.
Shit, even with heels also.
Yeah, I see Triple H announced
CM Punk was almost never the main event when he was the champ.
Exactly, and he was a heel.
The last time he was in the main event when he was the world champion was when he fought The Rock.
Yep.
And that was in 2013.
Main event then? Yeah, he was in the main event. That one match, and he lost.
He was in the main event at the Royal Rumble against The Rock.
He lost.
Yeah. If he wasn't fighting The Rock, I guarantee you he wouldn't have sniffed the main event.
And exactly, and
What if he was fighting
motherfuckers want to ask,
Even if it was him.
Why was CM Punk so bitter and shit like that? Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on now, wouldn't you be bitter also? You worked that
Randy
long.
Savage run.
Yeah.
He worked that hard, worked that long, or whatever, to be a fucking glorified mid-card champion. He was never in the main
Randy
event.
Savage run. That happened to Randy too.
Tensai was in the main event, and Punk wasn't in the main event. Lord Tensai.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in the main event.
Yeah, every era has a champion like that. I call it the Randy Savage run because Randy was the first guy it happened to. It's basically like where you're the world champ, but you're not booked like you're the top guy. Randy was the first because he won it at Mania 4, but it was always about Hogan throughout his entire run. And then
that was fast forward to Mania 5.
Right. And who did he lose it to? He lost it to Hogan. Right. Where
he lost it to. Mm-hmm.
And then it happened to Jericho when Jericho became the undisputed champion. But then when he was the undisputed champion, it wasn't about him. It was about Triple H, or it was about Hogan and the NWO, or it was about Austin. Like, basically, nobody gave a fuck about Jericho, even though the history books say he was the first undisputed champion. And then, of course, in the modern era, it was Punk. Punk was the champion.
Yeah, man, you right about that though. No lie. Speaking of Jericho, looking back on it, do you think Jericho was the right guy to win that undisputed title first, or should it have been Rock, Austin,
it should have been
Angle?
Austin. It should have been.
Well,
Austin.
with hindsight, they probably made the right move because it looks like Austin wasn't in the best mindset at the time. Looks like Rock was one foot out the door to Hollywood anyway. So, And then when you look at who came in, like Hogan came in the following month. I mean, I don't think it would have really mattered who won, really. I mean, this is our first time here, Terrence, but there's a kind of a reoccurring joke here. 2002, the world title was a prostitute because everybody had a turn. You know what I'm saying?
he made that joke.
But he ain't. But he ain't wrong though. I actually do history. I actually do research before I talk about wrestling though. And if I'm not mistaken, in 2002, the world title changed hands a total close to 10 times that year.
Yep.
Really?
I remember
I remember every guy that held that belt too, man. It started with Jericho, then it was Triple H, then it was Hogan, then it was Taker, then Rock, then Lesnar, then Big Show, and it ended with Kurt Angle. So that's 8 times the title changed hands in the same year.
And then don't forget when Triple H was given the world title, he didn't win a battle royal or a tournament. Bischoff just gave it to him. And then he dropped it to Michaels at Survivor Series. And then Michaels won it back. No, I'm sorry. He dropped it to Michaels at Survivor Series. And then Triple H won it back. I think
at the Elimination Chamber.
Brief run. Yeah.
He won it back a month later. And that's what kickstarted the Triple H reign of terror that year.
So this dude Marcus Brown said, "This I guess this shows you told it hadn't been a decade. It hadn't been a decade, bro. Raw after Mania was good. 2014, 15, 16. I think the using of the word decade began used so much without using to correct meaning, especially overusing decades."
I mean, well, if you feel that way, bro, you feel that way. I mean, nobody talks about those shows, so they couldn't have been that good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I don't remember those Raw After Manias, those years. I don't remember them.
24. I remember a little bit of 2014, I think, because I think that was the year Seth Rollins cashed in and won the title, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was 2015.
No, it was 2015, right?
Yeah.
All right.
What happened now? What happened now?
When Brock got suspended. Got suspended after
FC. As he mentioned 2014 and 2015. 2014, I believe that was the show where Paige debuted and beat AJ Lee. And then that was and I think the go home was, I believe it was I believe it was the Shield attacking the Authority. Okay, so those are
Yeah,
cool moments, but those are just 2 moments. That doesn't compare to 2013. And then for 2015, I remember the show opened with Brock pissed off, and he killed him. I think
yeah,
he killed. Didn't he kill Michael Cole? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, didn't he give Michael Cole like
Yeah,
an F5 or
with
something?
an F5.
Yeah,
he
Yeah,
I forgot which
yeah,
one that was.
he
yeah.
F5 Michael Cole that day, and he F5 the cameraman too.
But other than that, I don't remember anything else
Yeah,
from the
but
show.
Michael Cole's was worse.
So.
Yeah, his shoe came off and shit, so I remember that.
Right.
What year
In
was that?
That was
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
And 2016 was when
Oh, I
Roman.
remember
Oh wait,
2016.
I remember 2016 too. It was when
Okay.
Roman Reigns beat Triple H, I believe.
Right. So 2016
Yeah,
was when they
it
did that
is.
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
2016 is when it died. 2016 because Shane had the match with Taker, remember? And the stipulation was if Shane won, he would get control over Raw and SmackDown. And then
And
Shane lost. And then Vince just gave him control anyway.
And then Shane got control of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking stupid.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
what was
the SmackDown 6?
So you basically had Shane fight Taker for simple nostalgia, basically, just to get Taker on
32
the
was
card.
awful.
Well,
32,
who's
that was
nostalgia though? Like I didn't want that nostalgia.
32
plus-
was awful, bro. 32 was on my top 3 for worst Mania of all time. I think it's worse than 11, personally. That show was fucking ass. I don't care how many folks were there. It was not a good show.
Yeah, but I don't think any WrestleMania
What about
could be as bad. I don't think WrestleMania could be as bad. That WrestleMania could be as bad as the early ones. I don't remember which WrestleMania this was, but remember when Yokozuna won the title from Bret Hart, and then they had him drop it to Hogan
WrestleMania
the
9.
same night.
Well,
That was 9, right? That was
9.
9. Yeah, I don't think
That's
anything could
That's
top
WrestleMania
9 because 9 was the worst to me. But you definitely right about that WrestleMania though, because I'm like, bro, Triple H was the top heel, and you're having him against Roman, and they were cheering Triple H to win.
What fucks with my head is that the Mania that we just had was 39, and I was like, wow, so that means Mania next year is 40. So it's like we've already gone through another decade of Manias, and it's like when you look at this decade of Manias, most of them aren't that good. They're really not.
Yeah. No, they're not.
This one was good.
This one for the most part was good, But the fact that I have to think about when was the last good Mania besides the one we just had, I think I'd say like 31. That was like 2015. So
to a degree, but yeah, you're right.
I remember that 31. I remember 30. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like, everybody can remember 30. A lot of shit happened at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah,
that's the last one I really remember like that.
Yeah,
like,
but what is
WrestleMania? I will have to go back and be like, oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, but no offense though, the only thing people remember from 30 is when Taker's streak died.
Not only that, remember that Daniel Bryan Swan song, Yes Mania.
Yeah, I know that, but even still, man. Even still, I
know one thing though. I know one thing. Like, why does WWE treat WrestleMania 2 like a redheaded stepchild? They don't like to mention WrestleMania 2 at all.
I like the idea.
Shit, like, when it comes to documentaries and shit like that, they barely talk about WrestleMania 2.
I like the idea.
Because WrestleMania 2 was such a fantastic shit show.
The idea was good of having Mania in 3 different cities. But yeah, that just wasn't going to work. How does that even work? Like, can you think about that? Like, think about that today. Like, if you try to do, because you have WrestleMania night 1, night 2. What if you did WrestleMania night 1, night 2, but both nights were in different cities? Like, logistically speaking, that's going to be really expensive because you see how extravagant these Mania sets are. So that means you'd have to either get 2 of the same sets or each set would have to be different. And then if it's going to be in different cities, then you have to choose which card you want to go to. And then some wrestlers and some people are going to try to go to both. Like, yeah, like it's just not going to work. I like the idea though. The idea is cool, but yeah, that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work.
To do WrestleMania and to do WrestleMania in 2 different cities, nah, that's never gonna work.
That's why I call WrestleMania 2 a fantastic shit show.
Yeah.
They don't like to mention that shit at all.
Because they knew they messed up with that.
Okay, so let me ask y'all one of the topics of the show. We have to think about Drew McIntyre, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know when this dude contract is up. Other than AEW. Yeah, I think he should like if he has to go, fuck it. Go to Japan, B.
I think that Drew.
It depends on who's in charge. Truly.
I think that Drew was dealt a bad hand. We didn't realize it at the time, but when he won the Royal Rumble in 2020, which I'm always going to remember, not because of him, respectfully, but I'm always going to remember because that was the same day Kobe died. Do you remember? That was the same day.
Right.
When he won the Rumble, we didn't realize at the time that was basically his Mania moment. Because when Mania came, COVID hit, and
there was no fans, and he won the title. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's really be real, man. They fucked him, B, because that whole Clash at the Castle was supposed to be designed for his, you know what I mean, for his celebratory celebration. That's when he was supposed to get his up and comings. Like, you know what, you held it down during the COVID era. Now we're gonna go to you know, around your hometown so you can have a big moment.
Yeah, that was.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm loving the bloodline shit right now, but I still think that you know, they owed that to Drew McIntyre.
All they had to do was just make it for one of the belts. He could have won the WWE title,
right?
And then Roman's Universal reign, the one that started in 2020, would still be going. But
I remember I said that from before too. I always said that shit.
Right.
They booked them. They booked themselves into a fucking corner when they did that shit.
That's why I joke.
They should have been figured out a way. Like, you know what? Let's try to figure out a way to get one of the belts off of this dude. Because come on now, we gotta show this dude Drew McIntyre some type of fucking love. Like,
that's why I joke. This is the first time.
Hold on. I got you. Hold on.
All right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember, I was saying from before, like, it's just crazy how they treated their COVID champions. Remember the COVID champions? Who's the COVID champions? Drew McIntyre, Bailey, Sasha's not even fucking there no more. Mm-hmm. Fucking Asuka, she's fed the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Kairi Sane, she's not even there no more.
See, this is what they did, Sandman. This is what they did. I'm glad you brought that up. That to me, because the thing about it is, right, I've never actually said this on your show before. When AEW first started, I was like, whatever about them. When they won me over was actually during COVID. And the reason they won me over is because during COVID, fans or no fans, they were still doing the best they could, and they were trying to bring in everybody they could. Like, they weren't waiting for fans to do what they thought was good television. WWE, though, during COVID, you could tell they were just stalling. Everybody that was there, that was getting a push, they were just pushing them. But then once the fans came back, that's when they were like, okay, we're going to push who we really want now. You see what I'm saying? Like, once the fans came back, Drew was gone. You know, Bailey was gone. They started pushing Bianca, and she got her push. You know,
I will have to go back and really watch that again because I don't know.
No, they were holding back their big guns.
There was no rhyme or reason. There was no rhyme or reason with the booking.
Well, they didn't have a crowd, so it was like no holds barred with them. So, and on top of that, they were most of that era, the year after, they were performing in front of TV screens in arenas with that Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome. I like the Thunderdome. I ain't gonna lie.
It worked in some
A
ways.
lot of people should have done though, but I liked it. You know what I'm saying? It was something different. That's the thing with me when it comes to wrestling. I like difference. I like creativity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want to complain like, oh, everything's the same. Why don't they be more creative? And if a motherfucker do some new creative shit, oh, that's corny. That's hokey. Like that
Yeah.
Wyatt shit. What was that shit? The Mountain Dew Dark match, whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say I really liked it, but it was unique enough to have me a little intrigued. It looked different, and that's all we could ask for.
But
You know
to
what I'm
answer
saying?
your question, because there's the Roman thing, and then there's the when he won the title for nobody. People forget too. There was the Lashley thing because when he fought Lashley at Mania, like he could have won there, but Lashley was too over at that point. They weren't taking the belt off him. So in the case of Drew, he's a case of right guy, wrong time. And like I joked before, I don't even call him Drew McIntyre. I call him Drew McInluger because he fucking lost when he was singing a musical after it was over. So, and I remember when he lost to Roman, I was having some conversations with some people, and they were like, "Oh well, Drew can still be champion," and I'm just like, "Bro,
No, that's
if he couldn't win the big one in his home country in front of that crowd, then there's no fucking point."
That's right.
So, to answer your question, outside of a heel turn, and even then, I'm still not convinced. I think his chances of being like the face of the company, like the face of WWE, like it's over. So if I was him, if he wants to leave, I would personally, I would like to see him in New Japan, but
Yeah.
we'll see what he does. He's a good worker. He's a great name, and if he was to leave WWE, he won't be out of work for long, whether it's AEW, New Japan, or whoever. But they definitely fucked them up. You can repair Cody. Like the shit with Cody and Roman was stupid too, but that's salvageable. You can salvage that. I don't think you can salvage Drew. They kind of ruined him, in my opinion.
My opinion too. And first of all, they need to fucking throw that fucking sword in the Hudson River. Get rid of that fucking stupid ass sword. Ever since he started holding that sword, he looked like a fucking goof. Holding that goddamn sword like you Zelda or something. The Legend of Zelda. Look corny, my dude. Get rid of that damn sword. Get back to the Scottish psychopath. Something.
Right.
Shit.
Right, man. Like I don't get it either.
And I don't get it because this dude is really good. Especially he showed that he can still go at WrestleMania with that triple threat match. These motherfuckers put on a clinic.
Mm-hmm.
He still got something left in the tank. But it's like WWE, they don't see interest in him anymore. It's like his ceiling right now is mid-card champion, if that. That's his ceiling.
That's why possible. Like I don't know his exact contract status, but I know it ends during the summer. And like I said, Wembley is August 27th, big UK show. I don't think AEW needs him, but if they could get him for that UK show, that would be a big get for him. We'll see though. He doesn't give me the impression of someone that is upset, but Drew, he'll be fine. I mean, he's not going to be Dolph Ziggler or anything, but he's definitely not going to be a top guy in WWE. Like no way. They fucked that up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see Drew as the world champ again either. That's the sad, and it's sad too, because all the time he spent building himself up, repackaging to get back there, it's crazy because remember, compared to how he first came in WWE to now, it's a massive upgrade.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've always liked Drew. To me, he checks all the boxes because first of all he looks like a pro wrestler. He's not one of those dudes where you see him and it's like, oh, this looks hokey, this looks corny. His offense is believable. The Claymore, You know, he just runs, and I don't care who you are. If somebody runs and kicks you in the face, like that's a believable finish.
And this dude's like 7 feet tall. Like
yeah, he's tall too.
Dude.
He's deceptively tall. He's very tall. So like he checks all the boxes. The only box he doesn't really check, you know, and I'll be that guy. The only box he doesn't really check is he's not white. You know, I feel like if he was like white, WWE would like him a little bit more. Because
I want to say
motherfucker's clear.
I want to say like, huh? He's not white. I know he's
know
not
what I mean,
black.
bro. You know what I mean, bro.
No, at first I didn't know what you were talking about. Like he's not white. Like,
no, what I mean when I say he's not white, I mean like he's not clean cut like John Cena.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, he's rugged.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
He's got that. Yeah. He's got that rugged beer bar look, which to me makes him look more badass. But Vince never liked that. You know, Vince likes Hogan, Cena, Michaels. You know, Boy Toy. Yeah, that's what he likes. You know.
And that's why he needs to disappear, because he's stuck in that era. Like he doesn't adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Like I first noticed Vince losing his shit in 2020.
Why 2020? Yeah. What was it about 2020?
Before then, with me. Way before that, with me, like 2020. That's when you finally
like
realized
like that's when everything started going like out of whack for him. Like all of a sudden, he was all like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have people on both shows." Like, wait, what?
And 2020 though.
But then again, it was easy for everybody.
This dude, Vince was tripping.
I mean, you think it was coincidence that he sold the company to Endeavor? I don't. Considering the fact that he's been friends with the owner for like over 2 decades.
I heard about that too. Yeah.
I can kind of see where Black Star is coming from. Vince lost it before that, but 2020, like, how should I say this? Like Vince was making mistakes way before that, but like the mistakes that he was making, you could see like why he thought that. Like, okay, you dropped the ball with like say Shelton Benjamin, or you dropped the ball with say MVP, or you dropped the ball with Daniel Bryan. Like you could get why Vince wouldn't like it. But 2020 and up is I guess I would say when Vince started making mistakes on people that checked the boxes that you would think Vince would like, but he would still just fuck it up, and it'd be like, wow, like I'm still wondering, like I know he's a fucking weirdo in real life, but I'm still looking at like how do you fuck up EC3? Like
I was just thinking that same thing. I was just thinking that same thing.
Wow.
Like, you didn't even give him a chance. You want this dude to be a mannequin. This gimmick was being a mannequin.
So bro, he was a mannequin just posing in the mirror. Like, that's crazy.
2020 is like when Vince started fucking up stuff that like even traditional Vince would like. Like you fucked up EC3, you fucked up Karrion Kross, you fucked up Shayna Baszler. And it's like, these are easy layups. How are you missing this?
Shayna Baszler, man. Like, it almost breaks my heart to watch her on TV. Like, when you look at Shayna Baszler, how she was so badass and dominant on NXT, why she should be one of the most dangerous and feared women on that roster. In fact, Shayna Baszler to me should be where Rhea Ripley is at right now.
Speaking of people that fell off, speaking of folks that fell off, I was watching SmackDown earlier, and I mentioned it in our private chat. I was never that big of a fan of her, but I remember she was really over in NXT. Yo, man, what the fuck happened to Shotzi Blackheart, man? She's off.
Wow.
I remember like every time she was having like a special match for NXT, she would do like the cosplay thing, and I think it's cringe personally. But I remember she had a really big following. When she was on NXT, and Twitter and Instagram loved her, and it seemed like she was going to be like a really big baby face or something, and she's just nothing, bro. She's nothing now. It's like, what happened? Ugh.
You know why that is? Because Vince McMahon took away what made her unique. Remember they took away her tank? And ever since they took away her tank, and ever since then, she's been unimportant. And
Triple H gave her the tank back, but yeah, she was still.
But even still, the damage was already done, bro. It's no irreversible damage after that.
That's definitely something Triple H has got to work on. That's his biggest weakness. He's definitely got to work on the women's division because it hasn't been good. Mania is over, and we got to get some stories going. We have to get girls involved in storylines outside of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair to actually get fans to react. And
supposedly Evolution 2 is coming back.
I just thought of something.
I hope not.
Is Ultimate Warrior wife still in charge of the women on the main roster?
His wife was never in charge.
Say what?
She was never
Ultimate Warrior's wife.
No, she was never in charge.
Yes, she was.
No, she wasn't. No.
Ultimate Warrior wife was in charge of the Divas, or the whatever the fuck they call them.
She was in charge of the Warrior War thing. She had a big part in that.
I'm telling you, yo, she was in charge of the women. She was.
Last I checked, she's not. Yeah.
We saying Sarah's out? What?
Last I checked,
when was this?
I think she's gone now. Last I checked.
Because I was thinking about that, like, because I just find it funny. Because I just find it funny that this dude Triple H handled his women with care on NXT, but on the main roster, it's like he can't have control of the women on the roster. It's impossible.
No, he does. He doesn't care, bro. He never did. I told you this before. He didn't care on NXT. That was Dusty, bro. That was Dusty and Regal.
Nah,
because he built. All Triple H did. All he did was he hired them.
Because he built a Shayna Baszler and he built
them, bro. Dusty did.
What?
Regal did. I told you this.
He built Shayna Baszler and Oscar,
bro. All Triple H did was he just hired them. He wasn't in charge of that.
Shayna Baszler and Oscar. He wasn't in charge of them.
All he did was he hired them. No, that wasn't him. That was everybody else.
But he booked them to be killers, though.
That wasn't him. He still booked
them to be strong.
That was Regal, bro. That was Regal. That was A-Train. I tried to tell you, Dan, and you didn't want to hear it. All Triple H did was he hired them, he gave them a job, and he shook their hand. That's it. He didn't do any of the girls. That was Regal. That was Dusty. That was A-Train.
Did Regal back?
What's her name? What's the chick? Serena Deeb. She was a coach there.
Yeah.
Serena. Yeah, her. That was all WWE coaches. They did all of that. He never cared about the girls. He just hired them, and it just so happened that when the women's division during the Black and Gold era, it just so happened that it was very good. Just like NXT in general was very good. But the point I'm trying to make is Triple H, he didn't book that, bro. He never did.
But isn't Regal back?
Did. He's back now, so ideally you would think that it would be better, but it's not. So
I don't know what Regal. I don't know what Regal's position is nowadays. They never really made that clear.
Mm-hmm. Well, whatever his position is, they can't make it public. I think for what was it, like another year, because he still had or something like that.
Yeah, so it's not like he can do anything anyway.
Mickie James said it herself. We were talking about Impact earlier. Mickie.
Bro, the way they disrespected Mickie James, it still pisses me off.
Because Mickie talked about that, like she was on someone's podcast. I forgot who. It may have been Renee, but she was there, and apparently when Mickie was there, she was pushing for all kinds of ideas. She was pushing for Evolution 2, and the exact words they told her was they said that they weren't going to do an Evolution 2 because
women's wrestling is not a draw.
Right. They didn't care then. The only reason they ever did, that's the thing, they did Evolution for two reasons. One, they did it because that was the same year they got in bed with the Saudis. And because of how it is in Saudi Arabia at the time, women weren't allowed to wrestle. And it was a bad look because you have Stephanie McMahon at that time talking about, how diverse we are and how women can do this, and they got rid of the Divas belt and women's wrestling, so it made them come off like hypocrites, where it's like they're doing all this female empowerment, but then they're doing a deal with a country which at the time wouldn't allow women to wrestle in the ring. So they did, if I recall correctly, all the girls were paid for that show, even though they weren't allowed to wrestle there. But it was a bad look. It was bad for their PR. So they did the women's revolution or evolution, whatever it was called. They did it for that. And they also did it because they had Ronda Rousey. And because of Ronda, they felt like they had the star power to make it work. So, but that's all it was. It was a way to kind of save face. And then once they did it, they never did it again. And it's one thing if it had been like a year or 2 years. It's been like 4 years. so yeah.
And plus, but even still though, they're not really booking the women good, and they don't really have many storylines for them anyway. So would a part 2 to Revolution even hit though, or even be necessary?
Well, they don't have the roster to make it work, because when they did it the first time, you had the main roster, you had NXT, you had NXT UK.
If they combined it with NXT now, they may still have the roster, but they don't have the interest because they're not being booked. They're not being booked in a position for fans to care.
Basically, what they got to do with the women's division, in so many words, is ever since, because I've said this before, when the brand split came back in 2016, right? When the brand split came back from 2016 to about 2020, 2021, the girls that have been consistently featured on top were the 4 Horsewomen, Alexa, and Asuka. Just those 6. There have been other girls that have gotten pushes, but their pushes, when you compare it to the 4 Horsewomen, Alexa, and Asuka, their pushes were cup of teas at most. Like Carmella was a champion for a cup of tea. Naomi was champ for a cup of tea. You see where I'm going? So it's like they keep relying on the same girls. So it's like by the time you got to like 2020, 2021, it's like, okay, good job. You established the 4 Horsewomen. You established Asuka. You established Alexa. Now it's time to move on to that new breed of female wrestler. And when COVID hit, Charlotte was gone. Becky was, she was pregnant. So when COVID hit, that was their time to build that next star. And the only person they did was Bianca. Just her. That's it. Now, Rhea, she was ready, but she lost to Charlotte. And we know why she lost to Charlotte, because they wanted NXT to get viewership. It flopped. Rhea's champion now. So that's all good. So right now, at this exact moment, today, April 7th, 2023, for your women's division, you got Rhea and you got Bianca. Okay, those 2 are the future of the women's division. The problem is they don't got anybody else. We don't know what the fuck's going on with. We don't know what the fuck's going on with Bayley. Sasha's gone. Becky's still there, but the star power is not the same. Charlotte's taking another break, and it's like all the girls that Triple H has brought back, like Emma or Mia Yim or Tegan Knox, like nobody cares who they are. They're not featured. They're not in any storylines the fans give a shit about. They're just there. I'm not saying AEW's women's division is perfect, because it's not. But at this exact moment, I'll say it. AEW, they have more girls that are over than WWE does. You got Willow, you got Jade, you got Jamie Hayter, you got Toni Storm, you got Ruby. And again, it's not perfect, but there's way more. I can't believe I'm saying this. There's more going on in the AEW women's division than the WWE women's division. It's literally just.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this. What is it about women's wrestling that people is not being interested? Because the wrestling is there, and you can't say like, oh, maybe they need to be more sexual, because
the wrestling is
there.
The wrestling is there. It's just the storylines don't make sense.
Yeah, storylines aren't there.
It's gonna be an upward battle in WWE, because this is the same company that didn't give a shit about it for the majority of its lifespan. And
Bro, you gotta admit, it took a long time for WWE to get fans to care about women's wrestling because
right.
If it wasn't bra and panties matches, lingerie pillow fights, bikini contests, mud matches, like it was TNA every week, not wrestling.
They've only conditioned the WWE fans to care about women's wrestling only for a couple of years. Because when they got rid of the Divas stuff and just started calling it the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown Women's Championship, that was in 2016. That wasn't that long ago. You know, I will always give TNA their flowers for being the only company that actually cared about women's wrestling without gaslighting you. They have always cared about the Knockouts division. But TNA is a completely different fan base. You know, more wrestling fans watch that. You know, WWE
I ain't gonna lie. I would say this.
Yeah.
I would say this. Like, it needs to be a mixture. Have the sexy shit, but also have those bitches that can actually go in the ring. I want a mixture because, you know, sex does sell. You know, we like to see a bad bitch here and there, of course. It's entertainment. But, you know.
Do you actually trust Vince to do that?
Yeah, if he wants to. That's the thing. Like, it's really not that hard. Vince just doesn't want to because he feels like, why should I? If I'm getting money anyway.
I think what it is, too, is Vince says, I've always said this before, there's nothing inherently wrong with the word diva. And there's nothing wrong with a woman being a diva in any wrestling company. The only reason people have a negative connotation with the word is because Vince made it negative. You know, that's why. There's nothing wrong with what was her name? The chick that couldn't wrestle, the one with the red hair, Eva Marie. Was that her name? Eva Marie? Right.
Yeah.
Eva Marie. There was nothing wrong with Eva Marie. I'm not saying I miss her or anything, but one of the main reasons why she had so much heat is when you looked at her, she stood out like a sore thumb. Because when Eva Marie made her debut, it was like you had Sasha, you had Bailey, you had Becky, you had all these girls that could wrestle. And Eva Marie, she looked like someone that you would see in WWE, like, you know, Ruthless Aggression, when you had like Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson and
yeah,
Dawn
like
Marie
she
and shit
can't
like
wrestle.
that.
That's the main thing about Eva Marie. They try to portray her off as a wrestler, and I don't know why. Like, you know, she's not a wrestler. She's a valet. She's a manager. She's eye candy. Put her as that.
That was John Laurinaitis hire, by the way.
Spiteful.
You're right.
Put her off as a wrestler.
Yeah, but really what it says is you got to give the girls stories, you know, because if Triple H, if he can do the stories with the bloodline, if he can do that, and if he can do the stuff with the Judgment Day, which includes Rhea Ripley, those are both two long-term stories that are still going, that fans are very invested in. If he can do that with the bloodline, if he can do that with, you know, Judgment Day, he can do it with the girls too. They just made a decision not to because I guess they were focusing on WrestleMania. And all right, well, Mania's over now. So, you know, they need to start focusing on girls. You know, they need to start focusing on that next generation. I think, what's her name? Matt Cardona's wife. She's good.
Chelsea, I like Chelsea Green too.
Chelsea Green.
I like the character she got.
Honestly, I think people really I think people really forget just how good in the ring Chelsea Green actually is, honestly. Go back and watch some of her matches. If you go back and watch some of her matches on TNA and Impact and NWA, she is legit good.
Right.
She's got a lot of potential. The Raquel chick, the tall one, the one that's with Braun, she's got potential. I like her.
Oh, Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah. I'll tell you who would be a star. She would be a star in a different era. She's not going to be a star in WWE. I mean, she's over, but she's not going to be like a big draw. Liv Morgan would be a star in a different era. And the reason I say that is because they keep doing this there's like this thing about her where they're trying to kind of imply that she's crazy, but it's like they never go all the way with it, you know? and they're not going to because WWE is a PG publicly traded company. And I feel
I think Liv Morgan should go on Impact. She would do her damn thing on Impact. Have her as that psycho. Have her like the Harley Quinn of Impact.
Honestly, Liv Morgan. Well, first of all,
we can hear you.
When they gave her the SmackDown Women's title last year, because if you really go back to the history of that SmackDown title, there were last year Charlotte and Ronda. Liv.
You breaking up?
Out back on those two. It was a.
Hold on, wait. You breaking up? You was breaking up. You went in and out.
Might be Wi-Fi issues or something.
Yeah.
Yo, you hear me now?
Yeah.
You was going in and out.
Yeah, there it is. My bad. But like I was saying, though, Liv Morgan was kind of a commercial break for Ronda and Charlotte, looking back on it.
Well, I said then when we did our show live, because Sam, you can vouch for me. I said then like there was no plan. They just had her cash in just to cash in, which is something I hope that's another thing Triple H changes is that there hasn't been a plan for Money in the Bank in a while now. Money in the Bank has become a concept where it's like the person that wins it. When Money in the Bank was first introduced, the point of it is to make. It's not about just becoming world champion. When Money in the Bank was first introduced, it was a concept to take somebody who was in the upper mid card and elevate them to the main event. That's what it was. And then once they cashed in, even when they lost the world title, they still stayed in that main event. It was a way to basically legitimize somebody, to make someone, as it were. But for the past couple of years now, all Money in the Bank is just a concept to pop a crowd or to pop a number, like a rating. Like that time when Big E said on Twitter he was cashing in ahead of time. That was just to pop a number on Raw. That's all it was. There was never
that was so whack. That was whack.
Yeah, for real.
He never recovered from that shit. Even if he didn't get injured, he would have still been in the tag team division. Remember when he lost that belt? I mean, literally, as soon as he lost that belt, he went right back in the tag team division. No questions asked.
So did Kofi Kingston.
That's because they didn't have plan.
Yeah, how they did Kofi was so dirty.
Bro, so did Kofi Kingston, bro.
They had Kofi.
Bro.
Pancake tossing punk. I'm glad they don't do that shit no more. Like these motherfuckers here tossing pancakes. This dude Randy Orton sat there and threatened your family. Samoa Joe said, "Oh, Daddy's not coming home tonight." All this other extra shit, and you coming out celebrating.
Did he do that to AJ?
Again.
No, he didn't do that to AJ. But wait, yeah, he did. Samoa Joe did that. Yeah. Samoa Joe did that to AJ, and AJ put hands on him in a minute.
But what Kofi did, he wanted to twerk on him.
He smiled and threw pancakes.
The fuck out of here!
Oh God!
But yeah, that you already know that dude Brock Lesnar. He's the black champ killer. I'll be a black champion around this dude Brock Lesnar.
Oh my God! How many black champions has he beaten? Like 5
already?
Like literally all of them.
Yeah.
Like The Rock, Bobby Lashley, Kofi, Big E. Good grief!
Like the fuck.
And each time he beat him was shorter than the last.
Why you think Cody Rhodes got obliterated? Because too much black people was going for Cody Rhodes. And he took that picture of Martin Luther King. Oh, Brock was like, "Oh hell nah! You taking pictures of Martin Luther King? You got white people cheering for you. You gotta go.
You got a black wife.
You got a black woman. You got a child. Your little half and half."
Yeah, I guess looking back on it, I guess
time to die.
Keith Lee dodged the bullet there. I think looking back at it, Keith Lee dodged the bullet because he would have been next.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh man.
You see what Brock said when he first seen them. He said, "Oh, you a big boy, aren't you?"
Yeah.
I can't wait to lift you up like Omar.
You know what it is? I think it's because Shelton was his roommate. That's probably why.
Oh God.
He was sending Shelton Benjamin on store runs to get Vienna sausage and ramen noodle packets.
Oh man.
I feel so sorry for Carmelo Hayes.
Oh yeah. Oh, Carmelo's definitely next. Carmelo.
Oh my God. Carmelo's definitely.
He better enjoy being a champion in NXT while it lasts, because this is gonna be, man. After that, it's a wrap.
Yeah, Brock gonna win Money in the Bank again. He's gonna be like, "Yo, man, I heard NXT counts as a world title." He's gonna go after Carmelo.
God.
I'm telling you,
Melo about to miss with that one.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, if this dude Vince is really in charge, which he really is, I won't be surprised if NXT gets canceled. I won't be surprised if he just canceled that shit.
I mean, he never really valued NXT, so it wouldn't even matter.
What I'm really nervous about, I'm nervous about this UFC pay-per-view schedule stuff. You heard about that, Sandman?
I heard that they trying to start charging motherfuckers more than how the pay-per-views actually cost. Remember the pay-per-views from before was like what, $40, $50?
Yeah, that
was the most concerning part of that Nick Khan interview, because they asked Nick Khan, "Are you guys open to that?" And he didn't say no. So I was like,
motherfuckers is complaining about AEW pay-per-views being high. Bruh, if this happens, they schedule happens, it's about to be
they're not stupid. They're not stupid. Like that's like career suicide, because a motherfucker might watch one pay-per-view, maybe two. I'll give them two when it comes to important pay-per-views. But you know how much pay-per-views a year WWE throws?
They do one like every month.
1 month, right?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to pay no damn $80, $160 a month for a pay-per-view that you know 90% of the time is not even going to be good.
I think Peacock's deal with WWE, I could be wrong. I think it expires in like 2025 or 2026.
Yeah, 2027. I heard it's like 2027.
Yeah, so it's not something we got to worry about anytime soon. But I just hope they don't actually consider that, because I don't know how
they're gonna re-up. They're gonna re-up.
But they're not dumb enough to start charging more for their pay-per-views, especially considering the fact that they do pay-per-views every month, sometimes two in the same month. Come on, man. Ain't nobody.
Exactly. Who's going to pay $160 a month to watch
because
to watch a pay-per-view with no champion on it? Roman Reigns is not even there. There's no heavyweight champion on it, but you paid the fuck hell no.
You basically
unless you got the fountain of youth. You got the fountain of youth in your backyard, and you can have The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker all them jump in that fountain of youth and bring them back. Even then, there's no fucking way motherfucker paying no damn $80 a pay-per-view.
You about to pay $80 to watch Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes.
No, like the fuck out of here.
Ari's not stupid.
Them motherfuckers better bring guns to the ring if that's the case.
Oh man.
Yeah, Ari's not that dumb.
All right, I just checked it. AEW, the tickets for Wembley go on sale on May 5th. What day is that?
May 5th.
That's a Friday.
That's a Friday.
Payday. Smart. People get paid on Friday.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm trying to go to WrestleMania in Philly. I ain't gonna lie. I really want to go there. I want to get them tickets ASAP. That's what I was telling everybody. Like, you know, if y'all interested, we can get a fucking Airbnb, get a big ass motherfucking house, and just, you know, we all chip in for everything. But everybody got to buy their plane ticket and they, you know, their seat. But like when it comes to Airbnb, everybody just chip in and we could just be there for the fucking weekend.
That sounds fun.
That'd
Yeah.
be lit.
That sounds like a good
Yeah,
time.
that'd be lit.
So I definitely want to go. I definitely want to go to because I never been to WrestleMania before. So and we got a whole year to stack.
If you go, are you planning on just going on one of the nights or both? Because I'm sure it'll be 2 nights again.
No, that's what I'm saying. I want to go for the weekend. That's why I said, like, you know what I mean? If like motherfuckers get the Airbnb will be for the whole weekend. And I guess we'll leave Raw after Mania. We'll leave that Monday and try to get home to watch the show, I guess. I ain't gonna be there for Raw after Mania, you know. I'll be there for WrestleMania night 1 and 2. Other than that, that's it.
Well,
And
definitely,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and we order shit like that ahead of time. You get the fucking house, you know what I mean? An Airbnb house. Everybody got their own room. You know what I'm saying? And we could go live. We could do like a preview of the show and have our cameras on, just talking shit about the preview. Talking about, yeah, we about to go to the venue, yada yada yada. You know, whatever.
That'd be fire.
Yeah, definitely under consideration.
Let's just keep that shit, you know, keep that shit in the back of our mind because we got a whole damn year, and I mean, everybody just start stacking their bread, you know, start stacking their bread, and let's make this shit happen. It's really not that hard. We can go if you want to go, we can go. Shit. Anyways, about to wrap it up real quick. My dude Terrence Howard.
Yeah,
not
man.
The actor, but the rapper.
Thanks for having me, man. This was lit.
Man. Yeah, man. Definitely. I'm glad you was able to pull up. You already know you're always welcome. Let everybody know what's up, like what you got in the future and what you got out there right now.
Man, I got new music coming out on the way. I just dropped a music video. It's called Say My Name. It just hit 1,000 on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah. I got more music on the way. My next single's coming out either next month or the month after. I got more shows coming out. And anybody in the New York area, I got a couple video shoots coming up. More info on that will be coming soon. And more music, more projects. So stay tuned.
Sounds good. All right. So we about to get up out of here. Y'all already know the vibes. Can't wait for the draft. You know we're gonna be here to talk about the draft. And that's it, man. Make sure y'all stay safe this Easter weekend. Eat good, enjoy life, spread that love. And if a motherfucker want to talk shit, smack him with that dirty glove. Peace out, motherfucker.
Too
Alrighty.
easy.